Welcome to the Truth or Tale Files, where strange tales unfold and you're left to decide what's real and what's not. Tonight, we travel to the eerie woods of New England to uncover the ghostly mystery of Briar Hollow, a place where fog swallows the night and people vanish without a trace. But before we dive in, we'll reveal whether this is truth or tale at the start of next week's video. But for now, pay close attention and leave your guess in the comments below. Is it the truth or a tale? Let's find out. Briar Hollow wasn't the kind of place you stumbled upon. It was the kind of place where you were either born into or warned to stay away from. Nestled deep in the New England woods, the tiny town had a population of just under 600, but what it lacked in people, it more than made up for in stories, particularly the one about the fog. They say the fog in Briar Hollow rose in at nightfall, thick as soup and cold as the grave. The locals never walk after dark when it comes. The hollow doesn't want you out after dusk, an old man once told a tourist, and if you ignore that, it'll take you. In October 2017, a small group of paranormal investigators known as Phantom Trail came to Briar Hollow. The group was led by a woman named Claire Reyes, a seasoned investigator who has spent nearly a decade chasing ghost stories across America. She heard about the fog in a Reddit forum and was immediately hooked by the cryptic posts and whispered legends. Clara, her cameraman Marcus, and two tech specialists, Danny and Reggie, arrived on October 12th, just in time for what the locals ominously referred to as the unveiling. This was the time of year when, according to town legend, the veil between the living and the dead wore thin. It was also when the fog was most active. They stayed in an old colonial home near the edge of the forest. It had once belonged to a doctor who mysteriously vanished in 1903, leaving his journals behind. In them were sketches of ghostly figures with hollow eyes and gaping mouths, always appearing in the mist. The first night was uneventful, just a quiet chill. The sound of wind through brittle leaves and the occasional distant hoot of an owl. But on the second night, things changed. It began around 2:36 a.m. Marcus was reviewing footage when Danny burst into the room, pale and shaking. "There's someone in the woods," she whispered. They grabbed their gear and ran out to the backyard. The fog had rolled in, hugging the ground like a slow-moving tide. Flashlights barely cut through it. They heard what sounded like whispering, soft, unintelligible, and close. Reggie caught a thermal signature on the flare camera just beyond the tree line, but when they moved toward it, it vanished. Then came the laughter. Not from only one person, but many. High-pitched, childlike giggles that echoed in every direction. Clara froze. "Children died here," she said, in 1871. "A fire at the old schoolhouse. They never found all the bodies." The group retreated inside, but Marcus stayed behind, drawn to a silhouette in the fog. He claimed it was a young girl in a white nightgown, barefoot and calling his name. He chased her. They found him 2 hours later, sitting in the cemetery at the edge of town, his clothes drenched, his lips blue, and no memory of how he got there. Back at the house, Reggie reviewed the footage from Marcus's body cam. The video showed him walking into the fog, whispering, "I'm coming," repeatedly. At the 8-minute mark, the audio distorted. The cameras flickered. Just for a second, a hand, skeletal, pale, white, clawed, appeared on Marcus's shoulder. Then static. On the third night, the team set up motion-activated cameras across the property. At exactly 3:03 a.m., every single device went off. The footage was chilling. Shadowy figures darted between trees, faces pressed against the windows, their mouths opening wider than humanly possible. A mirror in the hallway cracked on its own. Most disturbing of all was a clip from the basement camera, where a dark shape stood just behind Clara, breathing heavily. She had been alone. They decided to leave the next morning, but Briar Hollow had other plans. Their car wouldn't start, the phones were dead, even the GPS showed them spinning in circles, stuck in some sort of loop. The town looked different. The people they seen days before were gone. Shops were boarded up. The only sound was the wind and that laughter. Clara wrote in her journal that night, "I don't know what's real anymore. This place, it's not haunted, it's alive." The group tried to hike out using a physical map and compass. They walked for 6 hours before realizing they were back at the same gas station they passed that morning. Danny collapsed, sobbing. Reggie was furious. Marcus was silent. That night, the fog was thicker than ever. Inside the house, mirrors began reflecting things that weren't in the room. Dozens of ghostly figures watching them. The laughter returned, joined by distant screams. At 3:15 a.m., Clara vanished. The others searched the entire house. No signs of forced entry, no broken windows, just her camera laying in the hallway. The last clip showed Clara staring at the front door before whispering, "They called my name." Marcus, Danny, and Reggie were found by hikers 2 days later, wandering in the woods in a daze. None of them remembered how they got there or what had happened after Clara disappeared. To this day, Clara Reyes has never been found. Locals say the fog comes for those who disrespect the hollow. Others say Clara became one of the watchers, drawn in by the spirits of the children she once tried to document. There's only one clip left from that expedition that remains unexplained. A single frame that shows Clara standing in the fog, smiling, surrounded by children with hollow eyes. Was this a case of real paranormal activity or just a brilliant stage hoax by an ambitious ghost hunting team? You decide. Is it the truth or a tale? Well, what do you think? Was Clara Reyes truly taken by something paranormal, or was this just a case of well-crafted fiction? Leave your guess in the comments below. Truth or tale? We'll reveal the answer at the beginning of next week's episode, so make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. Thanks for watching Truth or Tale Files, and remember, the fog is always closer than it seems.